Shalom, greetings and welcome once again. My name is Imuna Yisrael. This is Solonomics 101. I am a recent author of the new book, Angry Black Woman Syndrome Revisited, and today I wanted to share with you a bit about the history. I'm quite sure if you're watching this on YouTube and you do a quick search of the Angry Black Woman, you'll see a myriad of videos come up. A lot. You will see hate speech. You will see women hating women. You will see black men hating women. You will see all kind of things. It has turned into a real huge mess. This stereotype is one that plagues women in corporate America. It plagues women in the church. It plagues women of color or black women in school. It is something that goes along with you if you are in the media. Women like Michelle Obama and Nicki Minaj and all of these different people who are in the public eye, the minute they open their mouth and say something that the populace doesn't like, they're angry, they're black, and they're a woman. And oftentimes, more often than not, they take it as an offense. I began to look at this and wondered, why is it so offensive? And usually when we're offended and something hurts like that is because there's something beneath the surface that is basically unhealed, and this is why it's hurting. So I started to take to doing some research about this stereotype or this term or this trope or this narrative of the angry black woman. What is it? What does it mean, and where is it coming from? Well, I found some very interesting things. Some things that if you do a simple search, you'll find coming up, such as, and that's where I start out kind of in the book, recent times, where it is that it's a lot in the media. It is a storyline that they often do not negate from. Sometimes it's blatant and sometimes it's hidden. You'll see it in characters like Cookie from Scandal. I don't watch Scandal, but she is one of them in the characters. You'll see it in the Madea movies. You'll see it in Sanford and Son with Aunt Esther. You'll see it in the sitcom Martin with Pam. There's always a disgruntled black woman lurking somewhere that is a man-hater and has a very sharp, vicious tongue. You'll see it on Florence Johnson in the Jeffersons. You'll see it on Sapphire back in the 50s. And I'm quite sure if you watch a lot of the movies that come out, you're going to see her somewhere. So she's definitely in entertainment. However, as well as pop culture with the whole, the reality TV stuff. She's everywhere. She's everywhere. Omarosa, I believe it is, from one of the times she did one of them things with Donald Trump. So there's always, let me tell you, even if she's professional, you saw Lynn Whitfield played that to a certain degree in Martin's Thin Line Between Love and Hate. And so even though she may dress up, she may be professional, she may have a degree, or she may be from Roundaway in Bed-Stuy. The ghetto girl will come out literally in her, and then everyone will say, she's just angry. And it's kind of a way to dismiss it. So let's go to the history. I gave you a brief recent history as it relates to media. I wanted to know more about where exactly it's coming from. My search took me to the 1830s. And of course before, but 1830s is when she began to become cemented as the character that we see today in the minds of the media. I'm going to say something to you right now. Minstrel shows. Now the minstrel shows, or blackface, as we know, were Europeans dressing up, putting on burnt chalk on their faces, going onto the stage, many times cross-dressing, playing the characters of women or yellow gals, mulattoes, as well as angry black women, putting on dresses. People such as George Christie, who was a big one, look him up. They said the dude had over 400 costumes or dresses, of which he used to portray his characters. And he did it so well that some men actually thought he was a woman. So it was a European man in drag, playing a myriad of characters. They played the black man and the way in which they portrayed him, as well as the black woman. But I'm concentrating right now on the angry black woman. So they had this dramatization, right, of the black woman, of which the hand movements and the gestures, this is how they perceived it. I think it's very key at this point to know that this stereotype is through the European man's eyes. And everyone who's using it and plastering it all over the place, remember that we are processing what we're seeing and these activities. He was the first one to project this on the stage and bring it to the North. Now here's why this is important. Around the time of the 1830s and before, the abolitionist movement in the North was growing. There was a group of Europeans and free blacks who were against the institution of slavery. They took to campaigning, raising funds, writing information and pamphlets. One in particular around 1831 was called The Liberator, and it was by a European man by William Lloyd Garrison. Look that up. Some interesting stuff. They actually still have some of the copies online that from the microfilm that they scanned in. Is wow. I'm still like, whoa, this is a lot of research here. But the point of the matter is, he started The Liberator, and he was literally, I gotta get Jamaican on y'all, burning a fire upon the system. He was burning a fire on slavery hard. Side note, this was also where you see a lot of the slave laws that came up about slave not being able to read, because they didn't want to see how much the North was burning a fire on the system. So they made harsh rules and judgments to make sure that the slaves didn't get wind of what was really going on. But I digress. So basically, this pushback that they got, they began to take to the stage, and through entertainment try to convince Northerners who would have never oftentimes seen a slave or been exposed to this peculiar institution. And so therefore this was their first like mass media slanderous kind of campaign, where they made, by the way, like what they said is a small fortune on doing these shows. And they would go from city to city portraying these images. The Jezebel, Mammy, Sambo, Zip Coon, all of this stuff. They still have some of the songs online. And yes, the Angry Black Woman, she was there too. And she was the one who, to this day, although we have the Sambo and we do have the Mammy, we have all these representations that were stereotyped. And that's an old printing word, an old media word that comes from firmly impressing something. And who was the one who was firmly impressing it? The European male. But here's the thing about him, why his first view wouldn't necessarily be the one that we wanted to subscribe to. It's because he is the one who was abusing, raping, mistreating, and oppressing the black man and the black woman. In this case, we're going to stick with the angry black woman. So he was the one who thought she was angry. Why? Because in your trying to rape her, she pushed back. She berated you with her mouth. She degraded you. You understand what I'm saying? This was her form of resistance. You took her man out of the picture. He could not fight for her. He could not defend her. You understand what I'm saying? And you tore him down in her eyes. So what did she have to depend on? She had to depend on her mouth, which was her greatest weapon. You understand? So sexual harassment, some say the women who were living in the houses, they were better. But when you begin to look at the sexual harassment that they had to endure living in the house, so maybe they wasn't busting as much as a sweat in the field, but in the house they was under pressure. They was under constant watch from those who lived in the house, the oppressors who lived in the house. And so psychologically, it did a number on them. My point being that the angry black woman narrative, the trope, was delivered. Now let's fast forward a little bit. You can go ahead and verify. These are verifiable facts. It was delivered to, first it was the European to try to convince them that, you know, they liked it. And I'm just going to give a little bit of history. The Jezebel, she was the one who they tried to project to say, she likes being raped, you know, because there were some women who say, well, I'm not going to fight. The angry black women said, you know what, I'm fighting you. I don't want to lay with you. I don't want to have your mulatto child, you know, so they would fight back. There were others who said, you know what, it doesn't make any sense. If I do this, my children will be free, X, Y, and Z. And so the Northerners and other people were like, wait a minute, how come you got so many mixed children? What's going on? Their answer is, they're Jezebels. They like it. They're promiscuous. You know, it's them who's coming on to us. So it's a whole psychological game that was going on. The Mammy, she likes slavery. She loves my family. And so it was a propaganda campaign. Look it up. To a large degree, to try to convince the Northerners of the North that this peculiar institution is not bad as you think it is. You see, because the slaves like it, they like it. They're better off being a slave than free, I'm trying to tell you. So fast forward, then the black man, he started to look at her the way the slave master looked at her, because now their dynamic got messed up because of the whole institution. And so as we come forward into today, and you again back to pull up all these videos if you want, and you will hear so many reasons as I don't want a black woman, because she's obstinate. That was one of the favorite words of the slave master, obstinate. She's disagreeable, she's argumentative, she's mean, Remember, she was all these things because you were oppressing her. And this was her defense mechanism. But in 2015, almost 16, many women, because they're still undergoing this level of psychological, physical, emotional attack, they have never put down their defense mechanism. I'm not making this stuff up, because some people are going to be like, psh, whatever, sis, da-da-da. But if we really want to look and validate people where they are and validate their experience, then it behooves one to take a look. If you don't want to validate people's experience, if you want to continue to go with the trope and the stereotype and the narrative, hey, be my guest. You understand? But I'm talking about those who are looking to try to find the answer about the history of where this is coming from. Today, others have adopted it. The European woman thought, you know, the same thing. Well, she, a lot of times in the European Southern slavery institution, she was upset. She was mad with her. Why? Because she was mad that her man had affections for the slave girl. And so it became a crazy dynamic right up in that space. And today, so many people have taken on the mind of massa, one to another. And we go around to berate or down one another. If you want to get her to shut up, if you want to discredit what she's saying, you say, psh, you're an angry black woman. Don't nobody got no time for that. At the same time, it's not helping. So maybe we should look into it. Maybe we should look into where it's coming from and see whether or not she has valid reasons for actually being angry. This is Imuna Yisrael. That has been a brief history on the angry black woman syndrome. This is the subject being revisited, taking a deeper look at the root system of this very, very dangerous and condemning stereotype that is also dangerous to the woman and the man, and by extension, our community and our nation. So until next time, my name has been Imuna Yisrael. One.